Hi, I'm Valeria, and this is going to be an unscripted rant about HBO Chernobyl and the Russian reception of it, and how I think it's kind of getting out of hand. It's unscripted, but there's still a few keywords I need to kind of talk about. I wrote them down in a document, so if I keep looking at something, I'm sorry. Also, this is going to be mostly unedited, so just a rant. How Chernobyl ties into my life. This is a very important point because every time I talk about the reception, it's kind of also considering how I have experienced shit in my life and how sad it is, actually. My history is I was born in 1995 in Ukraine, April 26th, which is the National Day of Mourning for the disaster. So I was kind of like bummed out once I figured it out, because then I kind of realized why everyone was so sad on my birthday, you know? Oh yeah, I used to be treated with iodine for almost everything. Like, whenever I got a cut anywhere, my family used to pour iodine on it. And now I understand why, because it was dangerous. Like, it could have been that it never stops bleeding or gets infected really badly from all the radiation around us. So I didn't know that. I just learned about that 2 weeks ago, literally, once I finished watching the Chernobyl TV show. Because we have never been told. So, yeah. I've always been a sickly child. So I used to consume a lot of iodine. And we used to go out into the forest to pick mushrooms, and we'd get just the biggest ones because my family wanted to feed everyone. So, yeah, I guess it's a problem. And children under the age of 8, back when I was there, I don't know how it is right now, but back when I was there, children under the age of 8 weren't allowed to eat mushrooms in general. So that's a thing. And a sadder thing, cheers to that, half of my family died from cancer. My dad died from lung cancer. He was 47. My grandma has breast cancer. My other grandma died from, I don't know what cancer it was. It was eventually, like, she died from all the cancers because it spread out of her body. And another grandma died from blood cancer, I think. And a lot of people died from alcoholism. Cheers to that. I moved away from Ukraine when I was 8 years old. So that's how my history kind of plays into this. And it is, because of this, it is kind of personal to me. Yeah, I grew up with a lot of Soviet shit, you know? Like, I was born in a very small town in Ukraine. Well, very small. It's just like a village. But like in size perspectives, it's not as small as you'd imagine. Like 30,000 people used to live there back then, and now it's 10,000 or something because most of the people died or moved out. So my thoughts on the TV show is that it's extremely detailed. Like, when I watched it, I felt like I was back home because I saw everything. Like, I saw all the Soviet furniture, I saw the Soviet buildings, I saw the Soviet mentality, and I've seen so much of it through my entire life. Like, I'm not kidding. I moved out when I was 8, okay? But I went back there all the time. So I know, like, I know it is like that. Yeah, another point was that even though they had some creative freedom in their TV show, it's not a documentary, okay? It's a TV show. It's a drama. And they used a lot of free interpretations, kind of. But they're still so on point. So on point. Yeah, I've seen, like, a lot of people like that in real life. People like the people who were in the show. The atmosphere of the show is just what I remember in Ukraine. It's weird. I was born so many years after the tragedy, but I remember it just like that. It kind of reminds me of Silent Hill, and it's kind of bizarre, but yeah, Silent Hill is pretty much like Ukraine. I know that people in the Soviet Union were very happy during the last few decades, let's say. And for example, people under Gorbachev and Brezhnev were pretty much okay. Like, yeah, they were poor and used for labor, but they were pretty happy with it. Like, they had everything they needed. Like, they didn't complain. And it's an extremely respectful show towards the culture and the people. Like, it's so respectful. Like, there's even podcasts where the director explained that he got in contact with post-Soviet people who lived there, who kind of knew the culture and how people worked back then. And it still isn't enough for Russian propagandists. And I'm sorry if I use it like that, if I say it like that, but what I read on the internet, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like, I'm not kidding you. I've gotten into so many arguments trying to defend that TV show because it is so detailed and respectful to the people who were there. It goes into so much, but it's not enough. So I wanted to tell you about some of the comments that I got on my comments and some comments that I replied to on YouTube. It is, like, I don't want to expose them or anything. I don't want that. And I don't want to say that they're the bad guys or anything, but I just want to show you how fucked up propaganda is in Russia. I want to share this because it's just pissing me off so much. I cried, like, so many times the last few weeks. Because the show is really, really good, and you should watch it. And yes, you should make up your own mind about it, but it's really not that bad. So yeah, let's talk about some of the things that I've heard towards me and towards the show in general in the last few weeks. The fun thing is I only joined 2 comment threads, I think, because I couldn't handle more. I posted a comment on a video myself, and I answered a few comments on the same video by people who weren't thinking that far. let's say like that. Their conversation points start with discrepancies between the show and real life. For example, let me bring you some examples, okay? The windows in the TV show are plastic. There was no plastic in the Soviet Union. Or at least not plastic windows, you know? It's too modern. This isn't an insult. Okay, this is the weakest point, which is totally garbage, but this point was actually talked about in their news media for everyone to see who watches TV, which is like everybody who doesn't have internet, which is a lot of people in Russia, which is a big problem. Okay, so the window plastic is the first thing that pissed me off. The second thing that really fucking pissed me off was that they said the TV show portrayed the workers of the power plant and those who were like the miners and generally the liquidators as if they were alcoholics, like as if they had to drink before every shift. And I mean, I'm sorry, but they did. There were actually like vodka carriers going into the zone, selling people vodka and red wine. So much red wine. You have no idea. Like, those people are so mad about it that Americans, which they think this TV show was made by just simply Americans, okay? Which is not true. But Americans portray the Russians with their stereotypes as being like drunk idiots, which is not true. But I'm sorry, but those people were going into their own death. Do you understand it? Like, they knew they were gonna die. They saw what happened to people who went there and were hospitalized. They knew it. So why wouldn't they drink? I mean, this is not something bad. This is just human. This is human nature. And people who are really, really depressed, especially in Slavic countries, okay, they drink because no other drugs are allowed there. But vodka is fucking everywhere. So this is the second point. They were so mad about Americans portraying Russians as alcoholics. And this is just Western propaganda. Everywhere. I see it everywhere in Russian. Like, it's Western propaganda. What is the fucking West? What is the fucking West to you? Everything? Everything that's not you? Everything that not you is West? I'm sorry, but this just does not make any sense to me. I don't want to expose anyone, as I said. So I was on a channel about, the truth about Chernobyl, kind of. A person was or is uploading videos about how it all happened and interviewing people who were actually there and like sharing the truth about it, you know? And it's really, really like great. I wish y'all could understand it because it's in Russian and has no subtitles, but it's really, really good. And I've learned so much from it. But when I left a comment, I said that this, like, video, it was a video about Chernobyl, and it was like, oh my god, this is such a great video, and after watching the TV show, I want to know the truth about everything, and it's just so depressing and sad what happened. Which is not a bad comment, you know? Like, I personally think it's not offensive. But one person asked me, like, what truth do you want to know, woman? Like, are you stupid or something? Like, what the fuck do you want to know? I can explain it to you. And then he said, like, well, did you understand any of that? And I was like, I did. Thank you for telling me. And he was so mad. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm on a channel about the truth about Chernobyl, and he is asking me why the fuck I'm here and what I want. This is just... Sorry. Next point. They have over-lied in the TV show. They actually brought up points about, like, if I make a movie about your mom being a drag whore or something and beating you, would you feel okay with that? Because that's what they did with my country. And I was like, I tried to defend it. Like, I tried to defend the show by saying that they tried to be, like, the most factual as they could. And it's not a documentary series. Again and again, I said it again and again, it's not a documentary. The same, like, Titanic. Which is not. It's just a movie about something that happened in history. But they're so mad. Like, so mad. Like, one of the points that they brought up is, okay, I said that if the West actually cared that much about y'all, we would have done something by now. Like, we would have done something. And nobody actually cares what the fuck is going on in your country. Like, I'm sorry, I had to fix my camera. Like, nobody actually cares about what the fuck your country is going through. Nobody wants to attack you. Nobody wants to kill you. But it just doesn't go inside their heads. They're like, if that was the case, they wouldn't make a TV show like that. Like, they wouldn't make a TV show like that, portraying us in a bad light, showing that the Soviet Union existed and Russia still exists, and that it has to be eliminated. Like, this was not the point of the show at all. Like, you don't understand how mad I am. And I wish you could understand it, because it's all in Russian. like, all those people don't speak any other language than Russian because they're so stuck in their own culture and in their own heads. They don't go out and try to listen to some other perspectives. That's not a thing at all. Yeah. And now I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to talk to those people. I'm trying to talk to those people, but they're not listening at all. That about like the fact that nobody actually is their enemy and wants to attack them. They're so stuck in this mentality that everything is against them. That even if someone really tries to be historically accurate, like more or less, like at least culturally accurate, because that's what I experienced. It was so culturally accurate. I lived through that. I saw people like that. Like, for example, I know Dyatlov, for example, the one who was kind of the guilty one. The one who said that they should just go on with the experiment, you know? He was imprisoned and then he was let out because he was just like... I mean, he's radiated. He's gonna die anyway. He died something 1995 or 96 or something. I'm not sure. There's actually an interview out there. If you're interested, please go watch it. I'm gonna link it in the description because it's a really good interview with English subtitles. And I watched all of it. I watched so much material about, like, how people were back then and how they experienced it. They used to evacuate the people to a new city that they built just for them after Pripyat, which is Slavutich. And I watched so many interviews from people in Slavutich, including one of my favorite, like, artists is from Slavutich. Sorry, but like, those people just think that we watch this shit and don't do any research at all and just kind of like go and have a war against them. They're ready for war. I'm not kidding you. Like, in so many comments, I've read how they are ready. And it's scary. It's scary. I just wanted to share this with you, just so you know. I'm not saying that everyone in Russia is bad. Like, I love the Russian culture. I love the Russian music. I love Russian art. Like, everything about Russian language. Like, I study Russian language professionally, okay? I'm in uni. I have a bachelor's degree in Russian. I love the Russian language and the Russian culture. But the way their politics work right now has to stop. This is not okay. And if y'all could understand Russian, or at least go like talk to those people, you would understand how defensive they are. It's as if they were personally attacked by this TV show, which is such a love letter to the heroes that were working for us to make sure that we are still alive today. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. If you want more stories from my life, which is a lot, let me know. If not, like, whatever, I just want to share this. Please, don't think that Russians are all bad, but there is a real problem over there that is propaganda, more or less. The state-owned media is just pro-Russian propaganda. I am hated as a Ukrainian. You are hated as an English-speaking person. It's really not fun. Leave me a comment down below if you want to, like, see more of me ranting. And yeah, as an ex-Ukrainian, I guess, I could talk about a lot. I go back there every year, and I've seen the differences. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye, I guess.